Well, how good's this, catching up with the O'Reilly clan and the old kiosk at Ashburton? Pat, there's a bit of history, not only here, but along here too.
Yes, there has been. It's trotting in Canterbury goes back a long way.
What about the O'Reilly name in trotting? So your dad, Pat Senior, did he have any family lineage in the game, or did he start things off for you guys?
He did really. Nana had the South Rakaia Hotel, and out the back, Wally Tatterson had a horse called Emilus, and that's where he trained Emilus from, and I think he won the Inter Dominions in Auckland in the 40s, I think. So Alistair Kerslake and Dad sort of started helping him, and that's how they eventually got going. And then our family moved to Highbank, and Dad had a draft horse team, 6-horse draft horse team. And he wanted to learn how to shoe them. So he went to Methven with Clary May, which was Ricky's grandfather.
Yep.
Learned how to shoe the draft horses, and that's virtually how he got going.
Yep.
Through probably Clary May.
Yeah, so he was a blacksmith, which we moved to number 2 here, Kerry, and that's where you ended up, your trade becoming. You would have learned a lot off your father.
Yes, when I was maybe 18 or 19, I got hurt at Addington, broke my back, and while I was recuperating, I thought we did do, nailing up and all that pre-accident time, and Dad used to make his own horseshoes, and I thought, oh, perhaps I can do that, while I'm waiting to get back in the cart, and that's how it sort of started from there. Breaking
your back and becoming a farrier, I wouldn't have thought those two things.
It's just that Irish blood, just stupid.
That way. We'll get to your driving very shortly. Din, or Dennis, we should call you by your proper name.
Thanks, Greg.
You sit amongst a lot of driving history here, but you actually drove yourself and drove plenty of fast work.
Yeah, I did actually, and I had a one drive wonder at the Mount Hutt workouts, and
did it win?
It should have, but it didn't. I was driving pretty good at home, and Dad said, "Oh, you may as well have a drive at the Methven workouts," and I thought that'd be good. And Mum said, "Oh, hang on a minute, we mightn't get a pair of colours to fit you, because I'm a wee bit bigger than the boys the rest of the time." So Mum rushed around and she found the biggest set of colours, but those days the Methven workouts were always on the Sunday morning, and they always started at 9 o'clock, not like 10 o'clock now. Anyway, but the night before, on Saturday we were playing rugby, and the night we went down to the pub and ran across old Bordio, and he was sort of the secretary of the Mount Up Club, and I sort of said to him, "I'm having a drive tomorrow." He said, "What on?" I told him it was a wee noodling thing. Dad thought a wee bit of it. Anyway, he said, "I do the fields tomorrow morning." He said, "I'm the starter too." He said, "I'll give you number 1. He said, "Don't worry." He said, "I'll get you away first and you'll be right." So it was a big night that night, and then the next morning got up and had a bit of sleepy sickness and went away on the Methven workouts about 8:30 and got mentally prepared, and come time to put the colours on, and thank Christ there was no vest in those days. Finally got the colours on and the hat, and so they had to give me a hand to get in the cart, because it was a bit like in a straitjacket. I sat up there, and they all thought I looked like a Robert Cameron. Anyway, we got around that morning before church, because church started at 8 o'clock. Father Frank Kelly was the priest. And they said, "Oh, we want to get away early because young O'Reilly's having his first drive at the Methven workouts," and Frank Kelly said, "I'll make sure of that." So anyway, they all arrived up there, and the bird cage was full of everybody watching me. So we did the preliminary, and Carl Middleton, he was sort of a bit of a local hero. He said, just follow me. It was on the grass. It was that dewy, and I was half wet before the start, but I followed them and all the water was coming back at me. So I learned a lesson there to trail up. Anyway, we were walking around the start, and old Bordio, and he had a big night too, you see. And he said to me, "Are you ready?" And I said, yeah, I think so. Anyway, so we all lined up there, and they said, "Go." Well, swung sideways at the start and sort of lost
your compass
advantage there, you see. But we tagged along, and Danny McHenry, he had to drive the race, and he thought I was on the good one, and he followed me. But I went well too soon. It was on the old track, the old Methven grass track. I went far too soon and come up the straight and ran out of puff. And after finishing post, Danny said, "You went too soon." I said, "How come you followed me?" So anyway, we come back in, and Dad's just shaking his head. And I said to Mum, don't worry about making any colours, I'll call it a day. So I went over and gave Terry McHenry a hand to run the bar, and that was a pretty good.
That's not a bad option, I wouldn't have thought, didn't
was
given the history now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drove some good horses home, but that was about it.
Yeah. And Leo, what about for you? Were you always going to follow in the footsteps of your older brothers?
Yeah, pretty much. When I left school, just got a job with Dad and carried on, yeah.
Did you all work for Dad at some point? Or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a hard taskmaster though, wasn't he? But fair?
Yeah.
That's what I've read, so you guys
Yeah.
tell me.
Yeah, to give you a whiz up if you weren't doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had lots of advice in a sort of a funny sort of a way. Like if you were driving, one particular horse I was driving, he said, if you happen to, land in front, don't give the lead away to the first silly looking bastard that comes along. That was sort of the way he portrayed his thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But you'd listen.
eh? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Squirt, being the youngest, Jared, were you the same as Leo? Was it always going to be that way for you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't have any brains to do anything else, so yeah, we just followed along, and one by one the boys started leaving, so I sort of ended up.
You got your go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So but it was good. Yeah.
This is probably a question for you, Din. Games of rugby out on the lawn. I'm picking there would have been some battles out there, wouldn't there?
Oh yeah, we were all pretty good. we just took our turn,
Yeah.
Yeah. Used to have Sunday afternoon sort of rugby games because the cousins, Uncle Kevin and Tish's
Yep.
tribe, they were next door, and we'd come up and we'd have games of rugby in the afternoon. That was lots of fun. Yeah.
What about your dad's record, Pat? Pat Senior, we're obviously talking about here. He trained a decent number of winners, close to 400, and drove quite a few, but like so many of that era, gave the driving away once the boys started coming to the fore. Is that how it unfolded?
Virtually, I think, yes. He ended up winning the New Zealand Cup on protest.
Yep.
Funny thing, he wasn't driving. I just left school and he wasn't driving our ones. Duty Townley was driving them. And he was at the Cup trials. And whoever's driving Spry never turned up. And Dad was walking out and Charlie went and said, could you drive a horse for me?
That was Spry.
And
That was Stella Frost's Cup, wasn't it?
Yes.
Of
Yeah.
69.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, not the way you want to win a New Zealand Cup, but still a pretty proud moment for the family, and given 50 years on, the history of you guys. How did he receive that, or did he talk about it ever? Or
He didn't say much.
No.
He didn't like the way
He didn't like the way it was done.
because he was friends with Duty, and Duty was like when we were kids, like Duty Townley was just like the the idol,
Yep.
Yeah. So no, he didn't like the way
Yeah.
it turned out.
Even Charlie Winter said if we won the cup, but he said it was no way to win it. I suppose that's what people were like back then.
Yep.
The-
Oh, we're going to get a chance now to talk to you individually about your own careers, and then wrap things up with a bit of humour I'm picking, and I'm picking the bloke in the middle will be leading the way there. Pat, your record of over 750 driving wins, you should have nearly made that the 1,000, but you had a few injuries, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of bad smashes. Greg won at Addington in the Sire Stakes final. Showgrounds Bend, and got catapulted out into the centre of the track. The hub rail was there at the time. And that was a race later on where Bob Cameron and Ermis went over the running rail up the straight. And then had another one out here at the trials, smashed my shoulder up pretty bad, so that sort of curtailed it a little bit.
Do you remember your first winner? Driving wise for your dad?
Dad, Tamarack,
Yep.
grey mouse in the mud, owned by Bob Bettycroft, who's well known, he used to train himself. I think that was in the 60s, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, it was. 1969.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember it well.
Let's get into Skipperdale and how you came to get him. And we talked about a trotting era in the early 80s, which was great. The pacing era was very good too. And how did you come to get him?
probably through Ricky May. Virtually, he were in the beach down at Forbury one night, and Ricky going past the beach hotel, and Ricky said, "Oh, I've got to call in here and get a parcel." So he never come out for a while, so there was 2 or 3 other guys, and so we went in, and Johnny Howard was there, and he'd had a big collect, trifecta. And he asked me, would I train a horse for him? And he said, and I asked him what it was. He said, I haven't got it yet. He said, I'm going to buy one. So he went down south and seen Skipperdale qualify and bought him.
He took a bit of making that horse, but...
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I used to work him hard, Greg.
Yeah.
Round the roads, not on the track, but around the roads. Yeah, he done plenty.
Couple of Easter Cups.
Yep.
First home in the Inter-Dominion final, won by Lightning Blue. The Aussies around 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he won the Hannon and the Flying Stakes and 2 Easter Cups, 2/3 in the New Zealand Cup. Yeah, he never had a quick quarter where Mastermood had a quick quarter, and that was the difference back then.
But he could stay.
He could stay, yeah, driving bad, yeah. I think he won the 2 heats at Inter-Dominions at Addington. I think he drew 9, both starts, yeah.
No, he's a terrific horse and a real character, Johnny, too. It was almost a match made in heaven. He loved the game, and the horse was a great horse to follow. How many races did he end up winning? About 17 or 18, and over 400,000 back then, which was a lot of money.
Yes, it was.
Not long after that, or certainly about the same time, one of your best trotters you ever had, Tyrone Scotty. He could go. Yeah,
that was just luck. Kerry actually drove him when he qualified for Cyril White here. And I used to go to the RSA on Friday nights in those days and play snooker. And he said, I was playing with Cyril, and he said, I've sold my property. He said, I've got to move to town. He said, I've got this horse here. He said, I'll bring him down in the morning to you, and he said, then I'll tell the owners where he is. So that's how I got him.
That's how you got him?
Yeah.
Yep, he was a great trotter. Couple of national trots.
Yep.
Trips to Auckland and those sorts of things, were they the making of a horse in many ways?
He runs second in all the big ones, the Roe Cup, the Dominion, the Simon Cats, and then Peter Davis beat me with Royal Force in the Dominion final. So he ran second in the 3 big ones in New Zealand. And he I took him to Moonee Valley, and he won a heat, second in another heat, and he ran 5th in the final, never got a crack at him.
You spent a bit of time in Australia, didn't you?
Yeah.
Certainly early on.
Yes, I did, yeah.
Who'd you work for over there?
Ex-New Zealander called Wally Wilmot, well known in Timaru area.
Yep.
And that was a good education.
Tobago?
Yeah.
Nice horse.
Yeah, I was dead lucky. Ray Jenkins was going over to America on a holiday, and when I drove him as a 3-year-old for Ray, and he won the Trotting Derby and the Great Northern Derby in those days. And then Ray was going on holiday, and so he dropped him off, and he won the Oriole Cup, and he went through and won the mile here, and he won Show Day. Henry was driving him, and came out and won the Dominion. Yeah, so I was pretty lucky.
You're on a roll, weren't you? Like Rostreva Hanover, another really good horse.
Yeah, I was lucky to get him too. I drove a horse for Richard Brosnan in the Hannon, and the owners of Rostreva come around and asked Richard would he train Rostreva Hanover, and he said, no, I'm full up. He said, I haven't got another space. And Ian Munro, who was the owner, he said, well, I've got to do something with him, you know, he's got to go somewhere. And
he ended up
ask that fella there. So that's how we got him.
Superstars, Ashburton Cup, Messenger, New Brighton Cup, Canterbury Classic.
Yeah.
He won a lot of good races.
The Ashburton Cup.
Yep.
Yeah. He won the Honda 2000. In those days, that race was 140,000, Greg.
Yeah.
He won that. Yeah.
Family Pride, another really good horse you had.
Yeah, he won. Yeah.
Trotting free for all winner.
Yeah, I was lucky through Henry Skinner got me him to train. He'd worked his way out of Southland class. He was a nice horse. He won the Canterbury Park Cup in the free for all show day. Yeah, he's a nice horse.
Bartolino, Tozzi, Port for Judy. They were really good horses. So what about driving wise though, Pat? I mean, very, very difficult to talk about horses from different eras and what's the best one you sat behind, but
Probably Bonnie's Chance. I drove her. I had 2 wins behind her. One of her Pan Am miles and New Brighton Cup. Richard never saw eye to eye with the Stipe at the time, and he was always getting suspended. So, no, and Bionic Chance, she won the Sire Stakes final at Auckland as a 2-year-old and bet the Colts.
hard to do.
Yeah, she was a machine, really.
I think Mike DeFilippi drove her to win a Breeders one day, and
Yeah.
she was about 4 lengths off them at the 100 and 4 lengths in front of them,
Yeah,
50 metres past the very fast.
yeah, no, she's just a machine.
And you won a Kaikoura Cup on Starship too, didn't you?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
won most of the cups around here, Greg, couple of times. In Invercargill, a couple of Waka White Cups and a couple of Homaroo Cups, and Waimati, 2 Geraldines, 2 Ashburtons, 2 Methvins, 2 Haradas, Banks Municipal,
Yep.
Chariot. Yeah, we've been lucky, really.
Oh, I think it's a bit more than luck, Pat. I think it comes with a bit of hard work and a good bit of knowledge
Yeah,
too.
but I got a lot of nice horses. They were given to me on a plate, really, Greg. So they were good before I got them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you miss it? Initially, did you miss the driving, and do you still miss it now?
No, I don't miss it at all.
No.
No, not.
What do you make of the boys out there, your younger brothers?
Yeah, no, they only do half a dozen horses each, and they seem to win a hell of a lot of races.
And Sarah,
Yeah.
your niece?
Yeah, I've got to give Bruce and Colleen Negus. They were big help to her, especially down at Forbury. Like Forbury's gone, and a lot of the young drivers cut their teeth down there. You know, racing was a wee bit different. You couldn't go to sleep down there. And like Phil Williamson boys all cut their teeth there.
Dexter,
Yeah.
Blair Orange?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't know how. She just got away with it. I don't know how.
They run for it, don't they?
They just run, yeah. Yeah.
You enjoy it still though, Pat? And what about numbers wise now? You just potter around with...
No, we're only doing one group. Yeah. Yeah, no.
She started the other day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She's a bit crook. So anyway, never mind.
Is that Agatha Tyrone? Yeah.
Simona Tyrone.
Simona out of that same family though?
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bit of a motor there though?
Yeah, she's got a lot of problems, Greg, but we'll just give her 3 or 4 starts and see what she does. And yeah, might want to change the trainer.
So from the winningest of the O'Reillys and Patrick to the gun driver through the 80s in particular, that was Carey. He drove some super horses, including the brilliant trotter Basil Dean. Carey, you've always been a great trader of horses. The number of training wins is not high, but you've turned a few over.
Yes, just when I started training, well, it was just a byproduct of when I was doing my, shoeing my horses and stuff. I had time to work one, and just, bird in the hand to, that type of thing. Just trying to get somewhere, just turn a couple of horses over, and I had time to work 1 or 2 before going shoeing.
Yeah. Yeah, the blacksmith work, I suppose, was a solid income, whereas training horses, as you know, is not.
No. When I was driving, and that was sort of going okay, not the best in the world, but when I shot a horse that raced at Addington, it could get last, and I still got paid the same whether it won. And when you were driving, if you soon, if you're getting last too many times, you're not getting paid much. So probably when we started having a family, I just thought, well, perhaps I better go, shoeing, and it's just a bit more regular income, and so I just stopped driving probably a bit, seriously in Megan, in 1990.
Yeah, you started in the late 70s as a junior, and
Yes.
had a pretty successful junior drivers.
Yeah, no, it was okay. It was a lot of good in that area. Like, we're all good horsemen, but Peter Jones was in our era, and he was like a furlong better than everyone else. You know, he was just gifted. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just gifted.
And there were a few about that time. I mean, Morris was driving at the back end of the 70s, and Tony Hurley.
Yeah, just a
and
bit after me, and Ricky just a couple years after me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was a great era. But you drove a lot for your dad, and in the early 80s, your association with the Cup Class pacer Norton, you sort of needed a horse like that to get your name out there, didn't you?
Yeah, no, he sort of covered up a lot of mistakes. Yeah.
He won about 14 or 15 races.
Yes,
and
no, he was. He's another one that Dad got that couldn't get gated from down south, and I think Dad used to stay at the guy's place, Morris Anderson and Gore, when he used to campaign horses down there, and so he sent this horse up. You know, it was broken in, but just couldn't get gated as pacing, so he got him going, and
he won a Pan Am Mile, I think, and he won about 4 or 5 in a row at one stage.
He won 5 open grade races in a row. I think it was the New Brighton Cup, Easter Cup, Pan Am Mile, and the Timaru Mile they used to have, and then had a layover from the winter, and then he came out and won the National or the Lewison or one of those. The first
Lewison,
open,
I think it was. Yep.
Beat Aumana in a blanket finish, and then he raced in the Cup that year. Probably wasn't quite as good in the Cup as he.
Was that your first Cup drive?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the smash. Yeah, so he
The
got
Camelot,
checked.
the Camelot one.
Camelot one. He got checked in the race, but he possibly, looking back, you're a bit more wiser now. You think, don't think he was going that good on that day.
The great trotter Basil Dean. What are your fondest memories of him?
Winning.
Yeah. Well, he won a lot.
Yes, and he'd give you a lot of confidence. You could just sort of wind him up, and he could just outstay most of them. He was in a good era.
Did you get on him early? Did you win on him?
No, I qualified him here at Ashburton, and then about 2 years later, after he'd had a few starts, Peter Jones had driven him, and Jim Ferguson, could have been someone else. But like trotters, they just take ages, and I was just lucky to get on him when he was probably just starting to get a bit of confidence, and and then he won a mobile, I think it was, at a maiden race at Addington, and then he just kept winning. Yeah.
You won 24 races. I think you won 21 of them.
Yes. Was very good at Auckland on the bends. Just great on the bends at Auckland. Yeah. Just he was maybe a little bit sore or something, but yeah, he wasn't very good. I know when he won the Dominion, like got to the mile and he put in the step, and I thought, where the hell did that come from? I know he began really good that night, and he sort of like jumped ahead of them, about a length and a half at the start. And I thought, sheesh, but I just, you're a bit careful and you steadied him, and Tussle, she was always sort of first out, and gradually took the lead off her, and I think Cal Bryden, Wolfie was driving him, and he was sort of one of the ones to beat. But
well, he'd won a Dominion, I think, or he definitely won a Dominion. Sir Carson was in it. Gee, what an incredible era of trotters, and you were on one of the best.
And when Scotch Nuts come over, she could sprint and stay. She just had everything. She was super. Yeah. When she first came over, he was just got to that grade, I think, and I think the first year racing against her, he broke his jaw biting a post or something. So he had a, sort of a...
That's an unusual injury for a horse.
Yeah, I think he bit a post in court or something and broke his jaw, and he couldn't be sort of... I think he just got on the lead, and so he went into that Dominion. I think I just went reasonably slow and tried to sprint home, but he got out sprinted by those two, Sir Castle and Scotch Nuts. But next year he was probably a bit more seasoned to it, and he was ready to put the hammer down then.
The little black pacer of Brian Saunders. Not a lot of people will remember that you drove Inky Lord to win a sapling stakes.
Lord, yeah.
Yep.
It was my only drive on him. He was well, he got better, He was a good 2-year-old, but he got better as 3 and 4. Yeah, but no, he won the sapling stakes, and that was quite a, it's a sapling stakes. That was a sort of a time-honoured race.
Especially for your family around here.
Yeah. No, that was a good race to win.
What about the dual-gated Striatros?
Well, he was pretty special to me because I had a share in him with my neighbour Hopper McDonald and my other neighbour Bill Sides just around the road. And no, that was like, he was really special, really, because he was he won the Ashburton Cup and the Wellington Cup pacing, and then he won the Oriel Cup trotting and the Dunedin Cup trotting. So like, he was just super. And when he retired, Hopper's granddaughter rode him barrel racing, and then after that he did, you know, look after the babies and that, and then Daryl, Hopper's son, used to go pig hunting with him, carry pigs on his back, and one day coming down the scree on a hill, he got hooked up in a buried wire, and he had to, Daryl shot the, you know, the wire, to break the wire to unhook him, still carried the pig down the, just a great old horse. He's buried at home, under the tree at home. He lived out his retirement at home. He almost got to 30, I think he did. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but just a great, you know, he'd give a lot of pleasure to a lot of horse, you know, to a lot of people, you know, in various disciplines. He was just a marvellous horse.
Yep,
Yeah.
11 pacing and 9 trotting wins.
Yeah.
They
They just had a great temperament and
just a will to win.
yeah.
Kerry, you got close to 400 wins. What was the catalyst to you giving the driving away?
Finance, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting a family, and it was just a regular income shoeing horses. You got the pay, you know, you got paid the same, you know, whether you were a horse got last or first, but when you were driving, you got percentages on getting in the first 4. So, you know, when there was others better than you, I thought, well, perhaps I better be sensible.
What do you make of the racing of today? What do you think the major difference is?
Well, it's all very nice. You know, it's back when we started, like, it was pretty tough, you know, like and as a junior, God, you only got about, you wouldn't get 8 drives a season, you know. Now some of these, Sarah, you're getting 8 a day.
Yeah.
So it was tough. Like, they were tough men, and they were all good horsemen, you know. Great horsemen, you know. Jack Splinster, he was sort of like, when we were starting to work in the stable, he was sort of the up-and-coming trainer, and like, he was just sensational.
And a great driver.
Great driver, trainer, horseman. You know, they just admired what he did with his team, you know.
A big respect factor around those guys too, weren't they?
Jack Carmichael, I drove a bit for him. He got hurt one night, and I used to get changed next to him. And it was sort of the last race. I just forget the horse, could have been Beaupere, one of those little colts he had. And I drove for him that day, and the horse got second, I think. It was a bit unlucky. So he was still out the following week, so I drove it again. I thought, well, I'm not going to be unlucky again. So it was a bit of a speed, you know, duel early, and Jack used to like his horses driven conservatively, and, you know, they always held their form and raced good every week, and so I had a bit of a speed duel, but I sort of relented and let the other guy go, and then getting to the 1,000, they were starting to come, so I out and rounded the front, and we won the race, and Jack said, "Oh, that was good, but we won't do that again." It's just like, no, he likes his horses looked after, don't murder them, you know. But Jack Carmichael was just, I used to love just the stories and the, you know, the things he'd tell you about the horses and how a horse thought, you know. He'd even give you advice on how to, you know, like your goggles, you know. Now, don't wipe your goggles, run them under the tap, you know, take the grit off first, you know, just little things. But he was great to listen to, Jack Carmichael, you know, fantastic, you know, But I drove a few winners for him, and he wanted me to, when he sort of was retiring, he wanted me to carry on, you know, driving him, but I didn't want to go to be Wellington. I said, get Jimmy Curtin, he goes to Wellington, you know. So
he ended up driving Yankee Lock.
Yes, but Jack was good to, you know, drive. Well, he just, great horseman,
After the break, we'll catch up with Leo O'Reilly. Whilst he hasn't trained or driven a Group 1 winner, he's driven some nice horses and trained them for that matter, and he's getting very close to being the 3rd of the O'Reilly brothers to go past 500 driving wins. Leo, you're honing in on 500 driving wins, but haven't known you for a few years now. You've never been a stats man.
No, never, no. Just turn the page and get on to the next one.
What would it mean to you to join Pat and Jared in that club, if you like? Because it'd be pretty unique for any family in New Zealand harness racing to have 3 brothers get past that mark.
Yeah, I suppose it would. It'd be really nice, but hopefully I can get there. Yeah.
Let's talk about the training side of things before we get into the driving. You've never had big numbers, a lot like Jared, but you've always had a handy horse around you.
Yeah, I only ever trained 8, 10 maybe in the early days, but mainly 8 now.
Why is that? Is that because you want to have the attention to detail, or?
Yeah, pretty much. And in the early days, you could never guarantee how many horses you're going to have. So just a bit debatable whether to have the staff or not, you know.
When I go through some of those horses, and you got a string of them that won half a dozen races or so, and I look at horses like Nifty Niki, Golden Sea, Willie Go, Bushfire, Dream It.
Yeah.
They all won their share, didn't they? Was that as much about placement, or what was your philosophy around those types of horses?
Yeah, I do like to try and place them right. It's a bit harder nowadays, but just where they can be competitive. Yeah, I had 2 good ones with Bruce Francis, Kajura and Savama. I think Kajura won 6 in a row. And
It's a great old breed, wasn't it?
yeah, good tough breed. And had a nice wee 2-year-old playing with fire.
Yep.
He was only 2-year-old to beat Sly Flying in that season.
And he got sold, didn't
Yeah,
he?
Brian Hancock bought him
Yes, yep.
after he won his second race. Yeah. I think Mark Purdon trained him for a wee bit for Brian, and then he went to Aussie.
He had a great war horse, Jerry Garcia. Just talking to Kerry about Strytros, Jerry Garcia,
Yeah.
dual gated as well. It's not the norm, is it?
No, it's not. He sort of reached his mark, 1.9 pacing. He could always trot in his hobbles. So I said to the owners, give me a couple of months and I'll try and trotting. He took ages to get it together, but he finally got there. 1.6.
6 trotting and about 9 pacing.
Pacing, yeah. A good old horse. Yeah, we're still home. We use him for a pacemaker, you know, for the young ones. And
He'd be good at that.
yeah, and Angela takes him to the in-hand shows. Yeah, she likes doing that, and he's
Now, you do the horses on your own, but Angela does a bit of driving.
yes.
You'd need that, though. I mean, without her, I suppose it would make it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, she's got her own job. She works 4 days a week, but she's not doing that. She's
She's working for you.
working for yeah. No, she can drive them. So
Early on in your junior drivers' time, Regal Minor was a good horse to you.
yeah, won 4 or 5, I think, with him. Yeah, good tough horse.
I think he won a Forbury 4-year-old, which back then was a good race.
Yeah, he did.
Premiership was in there, and Borana ran 4th, who went on to win a
Yeah,
New Zealand
yeah.
Cup. So
Jack Slingsky had a good horse in there with
yeah,
one of the fillies.
but you needed a horse like that
Yeah, no, he was good. He was good.
to get your name out there.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you find that because your older brothers had sort of created the pathway, did that make it harder or easier?
It's hard to keep up with it. Still is. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but doesn't matter. Everyone's good.
Yep. But the O'Reilly name became not only synonymous with mid-Canterbury harness racing, Canterbury harness, in fact, New Zealand harness racing.
Yeah, it sort of has, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's been good.
Starker Pride for my old
yeah.
mate Keith Coots.
Keith
you
Coots,
got a good win. It was a trotting free-for-all, which back then was a Group 2, but it's a Group 1 now. But
Yeah, on
he was
track.
a character, old Keithy, wasn't he?
God, he was a hard case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she actually won the Inter-Dominion Consolation at Auckland. You know, I drove her. Yeah.
Your brothers have done well in the Methven Green Mile, and you got one with Kip Ross. And I remember that day. I think you took the lead about the half mile, and he just kept going. He was. Did Jim Hooper train?
Jim
him?
Hooper. Yeah.
Yeah.
On match breeding. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was full right into the back straight, and I just pressed on.
Kept going.
Kept going. Yeah.
Yeah. He beat White Power Lad though. He was a good horse. He won a
Yeah.
New Zealand free for all.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And then I ran second with when I trained James Dean.
Yep. He won half a dozen races.
Yeah,
Yep.
Greg Hope has one beat him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
And these days, you've got a mare going around, Marin Franco. She's done a pretty good job.
Yeah. The syndicate got her off Spraden Lodge.
So that's the Strappers
Strappers
syndicate.
syndicate.
Are they the few with you?
First one.
First one, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
They make a bit of noise. That's probably what makes me think that they've had horses with you before, but they're loving it, aren't they?
great syndicate.
Welcome back to the winner's circle, Marin Franco. Marin Franco, as easy as you like, won it by 3 lengths.
Chris, really good. Just lets me do what I want to do and doesn't interfere, and everybody's there on race day. Yeah. Craig Thornley recommended her to syndicate. Yeah. He said she'll win a race.
She's won half a dozen.
7.
Yeah, 7, yeah. Yeah, exactly. What about the future, Hoss, as you're known around the parks? I suppose the 500's logical, but
Yeah.
what else would you like to achieve in this game?
Oh no, just really get a lot of enjoyment just training one on my own that wins, whether it's a maiden race or, you know, a lot of enjoyment out of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Group 1 wouldn't be nice though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but yeah.
Well, Jared probably thought the same until Tiger Tara came along, so sometimes you just don't know where these
No,
horses...
you don't, no. I've got a good wee 3-year-old now, Creed.
Goes good.
Goes good.
Yep.
But he'll probably end up Australia, I'd say, later on. Yeah. He'll be a good horse long term.
Creed coming as well. A Hokula Bron sitting down. Creed comes at him, hit the front, and Creed won it. Creed beat a Hokula Bron third.
Because you have moved a few on over the years, a lot like Kerry, and for so many people in this sport, it's the lifeblood in many ways, isn't it, turning them over?
Oh yeah, it is. It takes a lot to win to get what you get offered, so you've got to move them on. Very hard game. Really good trainers out there, so that's.
You've gone okay though, mate.
We've done all right.
Nearly a couple of hundred winners as a
Is
trainer.
that right? I
Yeah.
didn't know. Yeah.
I knew you wouldn't know.
I don't. No, it's good. Yeah. Enjoyed training my own. Yeah.
To the youngest of the O'Reilly brothers in Jared. He's been associated with some very good horses, including the mighty pacer Tiger Tara, who got him his first Group 1 winning drive. Jared, much like Leo, you've never had a big team, but you've got a pretty similar record wins-wise to him, so he was quite happy. What about you?
Oh yeah, any winner's good a winner. So we've all been happy. Never desired to have a big team, so we just do our own and one-man band. We do everything. We do from the cleaning up the boxes to gear, everything. So no, it's never been a problem.
Got half a dozen in work now. Cavallina was your first winner, and there was more than just you involved in that one.
Yeah, Jane, my wife, owned it, and Leo and Angela had a share as well. And won a first race at Blenheim, which was turned into a very memorial, great night.
You had a big night, you had a decent crack at it, as you should have. In fact, I think she won your second race and ended up winning 5 races, so it was a pretty good start to your training career.
Yeah, no, she was good. Got her off Bruce Francis, and I'd driven her when he trained her, and she was a bit of a non-trying thing, so when I got her, I was still a bit where Dad trained from, and just used to work her down the roads, and had a good sort of a strip we could sprint her along, and she sort of got used to getting into it down the road, and it just sort of turned her around a bit, and yeah, no, she was a lovely mare.
Bowl Senna won a few races, about 8 or 9. Yep.
He was a lovely horse too, and Bruce owned him, and yeah, he I think he won on, I think it was when the Dominions were on. He sat 3 wide the last 1,000 metres and won that day, and yeah, no, he was a really nice horse.
Couple of horses for, well, he was a character, wasn't he, Dennis Price? Russ the Legend and Brighton Rock. They both won about 7 or 8 races, so
Yeah.
what's it about the trotter? Is it the challenge? Is that what you like, or is it just whatever you get dealt up?
Yeah, it's whatever turns up. But Brighton Rock, he's only about 14 and a half hands, so he wasn't very big. But he won, I think he won about 2 or 3 of his first 4 or 5 starts, and then I lined him up here on the, I think it was the Bandag trotting thing they had here at Ashburton Mobile.
Yep.
First mobile, and he didn't score up. And then he went home and he never wanted to trot again, like a real
Weird.
funny wee horse.
Yeah.
So then I took him up the road one day, and he galloped all the way up the road and went for half an hour, and he didn't want to trot. Turned around, come home, and he still didn't want to trot. So then gave him to Leo, and he just went there and
Yep.
trotted. So it's just he's a weird wee horse, and
Yeah.
Leo won. I think he won a few with him too. So, but like a wee neat wee horse.
Yep. Gibbston was a good one for the Baileys. They
Yeah, he
bred-
was lovely. He,
Yep.
should have, he could have gone a long way. He had bad stifles. I won about 6 with him, and then stifles planned up, and then he ended up, Robert Mitchell got him for a bit to try and work him on the beach, and that didn't work out, which was a shame because he was a really nice horse.
What about Master Bomber? He was a really good horse. Hubert Christie, was it?
Yep,
That was his? Yep.
Yep, Jane's father.
Yes, yep. Kept
yeah,
it in
he
the
was-
family there, Squirt. That's
Yep.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, the favourite son-in-law for quite a while.
For well, 10 times anyway.
Yeah, Hubert trained for the first 7 winners, and then I got him for the last 3 when Hubert couldn't do it,
Yep.
and he won the Flying Mile at Methven, and
He won a Summer Cup at Addington,
Yeah.
I remember too, didn't he? Might have been the first one of those, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is lovely, great, lovely natured, just a beautiful horse. Like if you fall over in front of him, he'd walk around you,
Right.
he'd walking over you, sort of that type of horse. So yeah, lovely.
Hey, in recent times, Sweet Bell's flown the flag for your colours, I suppose, and those colours are your dad's, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's been a lovely horse right from the word go. Kerry actually broke her in for Richard and Brian and Martin. She won her first start as a 2-year-old, and then we turned her out, and then she came back nice as a 3-year-old, and ended up running 3rd in the Southland Oaks and 3rd in the New Zealand Oaks, and took her to Cambridge for the Jewels, but probably a step too far. Yeah, big trip, but no, she's just been a lovely horse and great owners too.
The training side of things on a smaller scale, but in the last decade or so, gee, the driving's amped up, and a lot of that is your association with Jeff, and now Jeff and James done. We'll get into some of that shortly. Do you remember your first win? Not for them, but your first win,
yeah.
full stop, which was back in the early 80s.
Yeah, yellow ribbon at the Acro meeting on the inside track at Mochkara.
Yeah, the inside track, yeah.
Yep, remember beating Jack Smoleski. It was sort of a thrill just to beat him.
That probably would have done it then, but now you've done it 670 odd times. As a junior, you had a pretty handy record.
Nah,
No?
pretty average.
33 wins I've got written
Was it
down
really?
here.
No, just okay. No, just drove okay without being missed. Being any good.
And Franco. Did she give you your first drive in the Cup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably should have. Like, she was good enough to win a cup, but about 10 days before she got a blood disorder, and yeah, she didn't go as good as she should have. She had won a couple of lead-ups and gone good in the flying stakes, because she held the 3 records for Mia for the 2 mile, the 2.6 mobile, and the 2.6 stand.
She could really stay, eh?
Oh yeah, she's good Mia, but God, she hit her knee that hard, it was unbelievable. If she hadn't hit her knee, she could have been like probably a top Mia than you ever seen, because like she could stay, man, could stay.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Irakli's year, wasn't it? It suited you could drive her hard. Yeah. Hey, your association with Jeff Dunn, I think I'm right in saying Mighty Molecule might have been your first, or one of the first you drove, but gee, it's developed over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, Jeff just come up to me one day and said he was looking for a driver, and Mighty Molecule was the first one I drove at Timaru, I think, and then he went on to win Cup Day a few starts later, and yeah, went really good for a while. Then I wasn't probably driving as good as I should have been, and I sort of sacked myself for a few years. And then he came up to one day at the trials, and he said a couple of nice 2-year-olds, and Tara was one, and Venus was the other, and he said Johnny's going to drive Venus, and said I could drive Tiger, because Bob and Jenny wanted someone that could drive them all the time. So yeah, and he was just as a 2-year-old, he was like a nice wee horse, but
He couldn't win one, could he?
couldn't win one. But he sort of more of a, he's just sort of dumb but green and all that, but he always gave you a good feel. So then once he come back as a 3-year-old, he just changed gear.
Yep, I think I had one in his maiden win, which was at Rangiora.
Yes.
Thought, how the hell do we come up against Tiger Tara? But anyway, he went on, he won the Sire Stakes final, your first Group 1,
Yes.
the Northern Derby, and he won a New Zealand free-for-all, didn't he?
Yeah.
All
No,
of Group
he's
1.
Like, he's just a dream horse to drive, because you could hoon him out of the gate and you'd never get keen or anything. Like, you hunt him out and then you just take hold of him, you just come back to you, and like, he could stay too. So no, he's just a dream horse to drive.
Yeah, that Sire Stakes on Cup Day, Group 1, your first one, that's burned in your memory, I'm picking.
Yeah, pretty emotional. Yep.
Yep, he led.
Oh, he got there in the end.
Yeah, yeah, did a bit of work to get there,
Yeah,
but
he did. He drew about 6, I think, and then he worked 3 wide. We followed Johnny Dunn around the first bend, and we got the front about the winning post. And once he got the front, he just sort of actually travelled really nicely and held off one of Barry Purdon's that Zach was driving. So yeah.
he ran second in one of Lazarus's cups that he got
Yes.
beaten about 10 lengths or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah, well, I thought I won it.
well, you beat the others. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he went great that day. He got the everything sort of turned in like got a good everything turned out how you wanted it to work out, but Lazarus was
You're
just
up against a freak.
yeah, that's all.
Therefore, wouldn't have surprised you what he went on to do in Australia. And I think the 4-month period where he won a Vic Cup, a Inter-Dominion, and a Hunter Cup, when he was in the zone, he was a terrific horse.
Yeah, no, he's just a genuine lovely horse.
Do you think he has defined your career in many ways? And obviously he's given you your first Group 1 wins, but is he the horse you think Jared O'Reilly will be remembered for? Or do you hope there's another one?
Oh no, probably not. But no, he was, but more Jeff Dunn probably got me going again. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I've driven with some lovely people. Like when Cliff Dines had Anne Franco, they had like wee teams, and Jeff Galt has been great to me.
He's been really good. Horses like UCLA and Handy Line and...
Yeah, like well, I think I've driven just over 40 winners for him. So,
Right.
And he's only had like 2 or 3 horses in work.
Yeah.
And like Bruce and Mary Francis, they gave me a good start. So, yeah.
More recently, the Falcon, he won a Country Cups final, the first one of when they turned it into a bigger race, if you like, again for Jeff and James. And now your daughter Sarah, she's flying the O'Reilly flag. You'll have to, if she decides to get married or whatever, get her to keep the name so that you can carry it on, because otherwise the dynasty might be over.
That might be, but
Yeah.
not looking too bright in the getting married things.
What do you think makes her the driver she is? She's got your laid-back character, I suppose, but I was talking to Pat about it before. They run for it, don't they?
They do, yeah. Just don't know, it's the female hands are just a nice quiet. She's very quiet on them, I know that. Yeah, I don't know, it's just, they just go for her, and yeah, she's totally different to how I used to drive, and yeah, just the way it is, yeah.
Yeah. She's been looking after the team. I know you've had your hip done recently, and she got a win with Sweet Bell while you were out. So I know talking to her, that was a pretty big buzz for her. And she's been a 2-time national champion and a Australasian champion. So for her to mean that much, it must make you and Jane, pretty proud.
Oh, that's great, yeah, we were sitting on the couch at home, and I didn't know how she was going, and she just said, because she asked me how to work her, and I just told her what to do. She did what she did, but she actually found some speed, and she ran a 54 something half one night.
Yeah.
I think she won a couple with her, so no, she just loves that sort of thing, like thrives on a challenge. Yep.
Well, she's meeting most of them, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's a wee character, all right. She's very laid back about things, but no, she does things her own way.
Wow, there's some history there when you collectively add up the number of training wins from your father through you guys and the number of driving wins now, and obviously with Sarah coming through too, she's like the last bastion, I suppose, Jared, isn't she? She's done an incredible job in 4 or 5 seasons. In fact, when you look at the record book, she's got you 4 out of the 5. So how does that go at home?
I've just resigned to it now, but no, I don't care a shit. It's really good. Yep.
Yeah. She's clearly inherited the talent of the family, but what do you think makes her right up the top of the juniors? Because she's won an Australasian, couple of national premierships, and done it in a very quick time.
Yeah, she's pretty patient. Like, never learnt that off me. She got her own little style, and she's kind to the horses, and I think they run for her. So that sort of always helps.
Is there anything, Pat, that you would have done different in your career? I would personally have liked to seen you drive a little bit longer because your record was nothing short of outstanding, but injury took toll to that. Would you have it any other way?
Probably not. Like trotting back in the 70s and 80s is just totally different to what it is now, Greg. Probably the crowds and the turnover on course. Meffin and Ashburton, they'd put 400,000 on course during the spring. Only time they never done that was when Canterbury had their own Philly Shield. But it was just terrific crowds. It was just unbelievable. I think when Hararata had their last day, there was 3,000 or 4,000 there.
Yeah.
Only had a dozen stables, but the rest were tied up to trees, but no one seemed to worry about it.
No health and safety back then.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody worried about it at all. Kerry, some of the horses you drove, and I'll never forget, I was very young when Basil Dean set the record, but I'm not saying your career was defined by that, but it's almost the most memorable for a lot of people.
Possibly, yeah, because like he went 3:15, whatever it was, you know, 2-minute mile, well, way back then, you know, and I think it was like faster than Lord Module or something, you know. So yeah, no, he had a great motor, bit rough in his gait. He was perfect on the bends at Auckland. If he could run around a bends like that, he was terrific at Auckland, really, really good. But no, great stay. He qualified on the grass at Ashburton. Maybe as a 4-year-old, I think I drove him when he qualified, and he galloped about, 45 times and still qualified. And then I didn't see him again till a couple of years later, maybe. He had a few starts, and I don't know how I ended up getting the drive. Or I think Peter Jones and Jim Ferguson had placings with him.
Yep.
And it was just his time, I think. And then he just won, heaps in a row. But just a great big motor on him, and winning the Dominion was fantastic. He was in a good era too, like Patrick had Sir Carson, and he could always out-zap me. Tussle, same, but once he got in the clear and just sort of wound up, he could just keep trucking, just furlongs and 15, just keep going, yeah.
Dennis, the great historian of the family, you've got the knowledge, because I've been caught up a couple of times with you trying to outfox you with maybe a historical question, but you've kept all of that up top, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I listen a lot and try and read a lot. And one story there, we were at home, and there was a horse, the old Dougie Parks, owned that Dad trained, and it was called Carnival King. Anyway, I thought it would win, so I go to Ellington, Kerry was driving it, and we finished the freezing works, and we always, because those days that race meeting was probably on a Thursday night or something. We'd all leave the freezing works and go up in carloads to Ellington, because there's nothing else to do. Anyway, come time to this Carnival Kings race, and I said to the boys, you better back it. So anyway, they said go, and it won. I think it beat Brad Solm, but the divvy was about $60 or $70, you see. Anyway, we're back in the bar afterwards having a few drinks, and then later on, there was a bit of a tussle, and there was a bit of a fight broke out, and I happened to get involved. Anyway,
Surprise.
I was a bit unlucky, actually. Then by the time the cops
a bit of bad luck in your day.
by the time the cops arrived, I had one of the Pemberton boys lined up. Anyway, they got us and threw us in the back of the car, and they took us into the Central Police Station in Christchurch, and they arrested us for disturbing the peace, you see. So the other fella, he got bail, because my group were heading home, they didn't worry about me. So we go on there, and the fella behind the desk, the big cop, said, righto, take your bootlaces off and your belt and put your wallet and your watch on there, you're going in the jail for the night. So I pulled the wallet out, you see, and had a good sized collect, And he said, hey, where'd you get all that money from? I said, been to the races. He said, oh yeah, look, he got a bit of paper, got the rest of the races, and he said, where'd you get the money off? And I said, I backed Carnival King. He's not telling lies, are you? He said, because we'll listen to the 11 o'clock results. In those days, they had the 11 o'clock results. So he threw me in the slam for about an hour and a bit, and come 11 o'clock, he come and got me, and he sat down there, and he was listening to the race results. Sure enough, Carnival King came up, and the divvy had paid, and he's working it out. And he said, how much do you have on it? I told him. He said, oh yeah, that works it out about right. Next thing, he reached down, he pulled the drawer open. Out come a big packet of biscuits and lollies and that, He said, have one of these. So anyway, I said, oh, thanks very much. He said, we've got a bit of a syndicate going here, me and the rest of the coppers. He said, it's my bet for the syndicate next week. He said, you haven't heard anything, have you? I said, no. I said, I'm not open to bribery, thanks. So I'd stayed the night in the police cell and got a fine next morning of $70 and $5 court costs and a day off work, so I thought that was pretty good.
Leo, I reckon we could sit here for the next hour or maybe 5 and he'd have a story for every half hour, wouldn't he? He's certainly been the character of the boys, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, true,
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of laughs around them. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. How many in the family, Jared?
10,
10, and your dad had
17.
17.
Yep.
No TV back then.
Can't think.
No. It's been a good life, boys, though, eh? Especially this game. It's been awesome when you look around the walls here and some of the people you've been associated with and the owners and all that sort of thing. It's been a good life.
Very good. Yep.
Yeah, like Dad was obviously in the transition era from horses to, motor vehicles, and like those guys in that era, they were all, horsemen. Well, that's all they had was horses, so they were just, great horsemen, and that's what he sort of put into us, I think. Just getting horses. When Patrick started working for Dad, and then when we used to get a lot of, he used to call them brumbies, just ill-gated, bad-mannered type of horses, and that's all we dealt with.
That's all you knew.
Yeah, and so you had to just get on and just get the best out of them. Trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, like that type of thing. And yeah, there was no complaining. You weren't allowed to complain to him, like just do something about it. Don't sit there like a burnt stump. Do something,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to sort of, get on and figure it out, to get the horse to go better. And a lot of them, their manners improved and everything, but probably the ability didn't. But yeah, you learnt a lot on those type of horses, yeah. And then you come to appreciate the ones that have got a nice smooth gait and got a head on their shoulders.
Aileen, Marie, Janine, Catherine, Irene. We've got the 5, I think so.
Yep, that's it.
Any of them the horses? Any?
Janine,
Yep.
Janine worked for Dad, and then she worked for John Listener.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was the travelling.
She took Brad Shaw to the Hobart and Dominion.
To the Inters? Yep.
Yeah.
Do you like an Inter-Dominion trip?
Yes, Greg, I met you over there in the casino one night, didn't we?
Yep, that was the one and only time we went down that path.
Yeah, Gold Star and take a moment,
Yep.
double.
Got the double, yeah.
That was a good trip. Good days.
They were.
Good
And-
roll Shawsy.
Yep, been great days. Good day to catch up with you boys too. Really appreciate it.
Right.
Greg?
Thanks, Greg.